You ever notice how money always feels just slightly out of reach? Like no matter how much more you earn, it still feels tight. One month you're stressed about bills, the next you're stressed about saving, and then, if you're lucky, you're stressed about whether you're doing enough. And what makes it worse is everyone around you seems to be playing a different game. One friend is drowning in debt, another is obsessed with investing. Someone else looks rich but is one emergency away from panic. And you start thinking, am I doing this wrong or is money just confusing? Here's the thing. You're not bad with money. You're just in a phase no one ever explains. My name's Alex, and I spend way too much time thinking about how money actually works and why it feels so stressful for most people. If you're someone who feels like you're working hard but still unsure whether you're making real financial progress, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today, I want to explain something that quietly controls almost every financial decision you've ever made. The 3 phases of money everyone goes through. And here's what most people don't realize. Each phase feels permanent when you're inside it, but each one requires a completely different mindset. The biggest money lie we're taught. Look, most financial advice assumes everyone is starting from the same place. Just invest early, just save 20%, just let compound interest do its thing. But that advice completely ignores where you are right now. Because saving your first $1,000 feels nothing like managing $100,000, and managing $100,000 feels nothing like growing $1 million. Yet we pretend it's all the same game. It's not. Money moves in phases, not straight lines. And once you understand which phase you're in, money stops feeling random. This is where it gets really interesting. Phase 1, survival mode, when money feels heavy. Phase 1 is where most people spend far longer than they should. This is survival mode. In this phase, money feels heavy, stressful, emotional. Every dollar has a job before it even arrives. Rent, groceries, gas, minimum payments, and whatever's left disappears. Now you might be thinking, that's just being irresponsible. But here's what most people don't realize. This phase has almost nothing to do with intelligence or discipline. It's psychological. When your financial margin is thin, your brain shifts into short-term thinking. According to behavioral research, financial scarcity literally reduces cognitive bandwidth. You become more reactive, more impulsive, less patient. That's why people in this phase check their bank balance constantly, feel guilty spending small amounts, avoid looking at long-term plans, feel behind no matter how hard they work. Let's talk numbers. The Federal Reserve reports that nearly 40% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing. That's not laziness, that's survival mode. In this phase, your biggest enemy is not investment mistakes, it's leakage. Subscriptions, fees, lifestyle creep disguised as normal. A $9.99 here, a $14.99 there. Look, $25 a week doesn't feel like much, but $25 a week is $1,300 a year. Invested at 7% over 30 years, that's over $120,000, and that's just one small leak. Here's the hard truth. You cannot optimize your way out of phase 1. You exit phase 1 by creating breathing room, not perfection. Action steps for phase 1. Focus on cash buffer first, not investing. Build a small don't panic fund. Even $1,000 changes behavior. Cut friction, not joy. Increase income before obsessing over returns. Phase 1 isn't about getting rich, it's about getting unstuck. Phase 2, stability mode, when money feels quiet. Phase 2 is where things finally start to calm down. This is stability mode. Bills are paid, savings exists, emergencies are annoying but not catastrophic. And psychologically, this is the most dangerous phase because money finally feels quiet. You stop stressing, you stop panicking, and you start thinking, I'm fine. But fine is not the same as progressing.
Now, you might be thinking, isn't this the goal? Yes and no. Here's what most people don't realize. Phase 2 is where people accidentally stall for decades. Why? Because the urgency disappears. Let's talk math. Say you save $500 a month. That's $6,000 a year. At 7%, that's roughly $83,000 after 10 years. Feels solid. But here's the problem. If you stay at $500 forever, you never reach escape velocity. Stability mode rewards consistency, but it punishes complacency. This is where people overvalue safety, underinvest in growth, delay decisions because things are okay, confuse comfort with progress. Psychologically, this phase is driven by loss aversion. You're no longer afraid of being broke. You're afraid of messing things up. So you stay conservative longer than you should. You avoid risk. You avoid discomfort. You avoid growth. This is where it gets really interesting, because the people who escape phase 2 don't do it by saving harder. They do it by changing direction. Action steps for phase 2. Shift from saving to intentional investing. Increase contributions with every raise. Automate decisions to remove emotion. Measure progress in net worth, not cash. Phase 2 is not about feeling secure. It's about building momentum. Phase 3, growth mode, when money feels light. Phase 3 is where money finally starts working with you. This is growth mode, and it feels completely different. Decisions slow down, stress drops, time opens up. Money becomes less emotional and more mechanical. In this phase, compound interest becomes visible. So you have $250,000 invested. At 7%, that's $17,500 a year, without adding a single dollar. That's more than many people save annually. And here's the psychological shift no one talks about. Your income stops being the main driver. Your assets take over. This is why people in phase 3 talk differently about money. They think in percentages. They plan in decades. They optimize for freedom, not consumption. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds unrealistic for most people. But here's what most people don't realize. Phase 3 isn't about luck. It's about time plus consistency plus restraint. Most millionaires in the U.S. didn't invent anything. They didn't go viral. They didn't strike gold. They stayed invested. They avoided catastrophic mistakes. They let boring decisions compound. Action steps for phase 3. Focus on asset allocation, not excitement. Protect downside risk. Optimize taxes and fees. Design life intentionally, not reactively. Phase 3 isn't about showing wealth. It's about using it well. Why people get stuck and how to move forward. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people never leave phase 2, not because they can't, but because no one tells them they're supposed to. They mistake calm for completion. But money is not a destination, it's a system, and systems only improve when you adjust them. The biggest mistake people make is applying phase 3 advice in phase 1 or phase 1 fear in phase 3. Once you know your phase, everything simplifies. You stop comparing, you stop rushing, you stop guessing. Look, wherever you are right now, that's okay. Phase 1 doesn't mean you failed. Phase 2 doesn't mean you've arrived. Phase 3 doesn't mean you're done. It just means you're human. The key is awareness, because once you understand the phase you're in, money stops feeling personal. It becomes predictable, and predictable systems are powerful. If this helped you understand your money better, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and stick around. This is Alex, and I'll see you in the next one.